So we need to talk. We do. We have a problem. I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know how to bring it up. I feel like no matter what I say, there's going to be a fight, and I don't want to fight. I want to fix the problem. I don't know how to talk about it. Let me give you two names, okay? And you let me know how you feel. Dave Chappelle. How do you feel about that name? Now hold on to that feeling. It could be positive feelings, could be negative feelings. But hold on to the feelings. All right, how about this name? Aaron Rodgers. How do you feel? How do you feel about that name? Now, I don't want to talk about the controversies with those attached to those two names recently. I don't want to talk about that. That's not going to get us anywhere. I want to solve the problem, okay? I feel like talking about those details is going to add to the problem. But how you feel, right? Those feelings attached to those names, those matter. That's part of the problem. I still don't really know what to do with it. You know, I mean, Dave Chappelle, what he's known as by some of you as the, anti-trans comedian, I guess. Frame it, label him however you want to, but something along those lines. How many jokes did he say in his special recently? It was the special The Dreamer had, I think, 3, maybe 4 jokes about transgender. He did his comedy special was about an hour. I mean, that's a very small percentage of the special, but I don't want to get into that. Okay, he's just known as that by some of you, as that type of comedian, punching down, right? And Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, but kind of a wacko, seen by some as a wacko. And he is a wacko. He's also an intelligent guy. You can be both a wacko and an intelligent person, You can be. I don't know how to talk about this, because I don't want to talk about those things. You see, we're already going in the wrong direction. Let me throw another name at you. Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci. Remember early 2020? Most people, I would say, we're looking forward to hearing from Dr. Fauci because we wanted to know what to do. Right? Locked in our homes. This is even before we were locked in our homes, indefinitely. We would just look into Dr. Fauci for answers. Trump would come out, and then Dr. Fauci would be out there, and there was that woman with the scarf, right? And then there was a point where, Trump was saying crazy things. He's always kind of saying crazy things. And there was a point where Dr. Fauci decided he wasn't going to co-sign the craziness anymore. And that was the moment where Dr. Fauci became politicized, right? He got to the point where now, no one's listening to Dr. Fauci. Either side, left or right? Dr. Fauci could say, I feel like the right is ready, and they just proclaim Dr. Fauci is evil, and the left is so quick to defend Dr. Fauci. It doesn't matter. No one's listening to the content of what he's saying. Dr. Fauci could say, hey, pee in a bucket, put some cinnamon, sugar in there, mix it together, and drink that pee for months. It'll protect you from super COVID. He could just make something up and say that, and the left would be quick to defend him. Whereas he could just come out and say, hey, Merry Christmas, well wishes, and all that kind of stuff. Here's some money. Just starts throwing money at people. He could do that. And the right would be like, F you, Dr. Fauci, you're not fooling anybody. And they're not listening to anything he's saying. It doesn't matter anymore. He's just a political tool. We go back to Chappelle, Aaron Rodgers. Would it even matter both of them have become political tools. We could debate whether it's their fault or not, and I don't want to go down that road. Again, that's not going to help the problem, all right? The problem are all these feelings and what it's doing to us. And the fact that we're not listening anymore. Dave Chappelle, let's say that some liberals out there, I guess maybe you want Dave Chappelle to apologize. Is that what you've wanted? I don't know. I don't even know But let's just say that Dave Chappelle apologized and that he didn't do, in this special they just did, he didn't do any jokes about transgender people. None. I don't know if it would have mattered. I think that the right would have said, well, they finally got to Chappelle, they finally got to free speech, and then someone would just kind of fill that void. And the left wouldn't trust that Dave Chappelle did that. And then, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter what he actually said. It hasn't mattered. I mean, Dave Chappelle, like I said, those jokes, very small percentage of what he actually said in the special. And then Aaron Rodgers, he could, good old wacko Aaron Rodgers, he could come out and say something sane. He could say, well, you know what, I don't know about these things I was believing. Perhaps I need to check those things. He could apologize to Jimmy Kimmel. I don't know what he's going to say next week. He could do those things. I don't think it would matter. I think the same thing. Like, they could come out, on the right and say, well, the left got to him, and someone would fill that void. Even if ESPN got rid of Aaron Rodgers, they said, Pat McAfee, no more Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers would just go somewhere else. Like, it doesn't matter. That's my point. It doesn't matter what he's saying, good or bad anymore. He's a political tool. You believe with him. You believe whatever you believe about him. Same with Chappelle. And we're not paying attention to the content anymore. Now, these are small examples, all right? But there's larger examples, like with Dr. Fauci, like with politicians, and so on and so forth. And it's almost like there's two. Remember the movie? Some of you might not remember this movie, The Blob. There's like this. Y'all are gonna remember that. Too old of a reference. How about zombies? We use zombies. I can also use that visual for zombies, right? So there's one side of a bunch of zombies, and they're bitching. They're bitching about everything. Bitch, 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 bitch. And then the other side also bitching. They're bitching about different stuff, but they're bitching too. Their side, bitch, 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 and they're all bitching. Meanwhile, we have some real problems going on. That's kind of, we have corruption going on. We have crime. We have gun violence. We have drugs. We have climate change. We have still some illnesses going on. There's all kinds of things. There's wars going on. There's threats of wars. Threats of nuclear wars. There's all kinds of stuff happening, real problems, homeless stuff, inflation, all kinds of stuff that we could be fixing, but we're not, because we're like, bitch, 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 bitch. Brains, bitch, 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 brains, bitch. That's fun. So those two sides battling. Meanwhile, all of that stuff I was talking about is actually the real problems are going on, and we're sinking further and further and further into a pit of hell. You might say, well, the Praphit, that's depressing. Yes, it is. It is depressing. You might say, well, do you have like a solution? You're just going to give us some bad news. If I had a solution, would you even listen?